stared him straight in the eyes. I said, oh boy, this is the day. Then I grabbed that knife, I stabbed it straight through my eye, and then I fell to my knees.
So anyway, congratulations on the new album. You got a live album coming out called Served Live. So, I mean, live music isn't happening where you are, I assume. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
So how you guys been doing in that? I mean, you got a live album coming out. You're a band that kind of thrives on playing in front of people.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing all right considering. I mean, we haven't played a show since the end of February, so it's been quite a while. That's hard to do. Yeah, and it's hard because, like you said, like we thrive on playing live shows, and that's kind of what we do all the time. So before the pandemic hit, we were in the middle of a Serve Cold tour, is what it was called. And it was supposed to go all the way till November, but it got cut short in March. So what we did is we took just the beginning half of that whole tour and a bunch of the shows that we had recorded, and then we decided to put that out instead of the full Served Cold tour whenever that might happen. So
right.
Yeah, we've been kind of busy working on stuff like that, and I don't know, just working on some home projects with some recording gear and stuff, and just trying to stay busy.
Gotcha. So the album is almost 90 minutes long, 17 tracks. It feels like I get the feeling it was recorded kind of all over the place, all over the world. So how did you guys decide on what went on and which performances to use?
Well, we had to listen through a lot of them because, like I said, we were recording on that first half of the tour. So we only we missed a lot of places that we were going to play still. Like there's supposed to be a lot of Europe and other places on there that we didn't get to. But basically, we sat down and our manager helped out a lot with this, Chris Winters, and we just had to listen through the songs of each show and then just kind of pick out the best ones from each one and just keep listening through. So it was pretty tedious at times, but
I can imagine it was a lot of listening.
Yeah, and when you keep hearing your same song over and over again, different live performances, you hear little things in each one and you're like, oh, that was rough, or that was great.
Fantastic. But there are some nice little comments at the beginnings of the songs to indicate like you're in Dublin or you're wherever. So that kind of brings it all, kind of holds it together, I think. Yeah,
I think so too. They did a good job of taking the right parts of what I said. That's for sure. I don't sound too stupid.
And now, most people think. I mean, there is some discussion about whether or not what a bluegrass band is these days, whether or not you're bluegrass and blah blah blah. But in general terms, when you think of bluegrass, you think of for Flat and Scruggs and those guys and kind of banjos and whatever, and it's fairly upbeat, happy music. But your album seems to have a rather dark center to it, with a series of songs like Miss Mary and Broken Cowboy and That Bastard and those. So I'm curious as to where that comes from when you guys are writing those songs and how you place them in this show.
Never killed no one before, never seen such blood. When she heard a man, I thought she grabbed that six-shooter gun. There's nothing he could do, nothing he could say. He was naked with another woman screwing around today. One, two, three, four, just for real. 5, 6, 7, 8, she woke up on the floor.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how we place them in the show is one thing. I don't know, just from years of doing it over and over again, we kind of come up with different methods all the time on where to play songs in a show. We usually like to start the show off with a nice upbeat kind of vibe and then get into a little dark melancholy and then bring you back out with some upbeat and stuff. In terms of writing that stuff, we just seem to have an knack for writing miserable songs. I don't know. We could even take the happiest song and make it sound sad, or take a sad song and make it sound happy with really dark lyrics kind of hidden in between. So it's,
very cool. Because and how do you guys write? Are you sitting down together, or are you back and forth with stuff? How does it work?
It started out by mostly sitting down together. Like we jam a lot when in the early days, get together a few times a week, sit down, case of beer, and just start jamming and playing. And like we didn't really know what we were doing or what our plans were for anything. So we just kind of kept building. And now it's kind of at the point, well, especially now with COVID, where you come up with an idea and then you send it to the other guys and say, what do you guys think? Which is great, but also harder to get a feel for it because it just sounds so much different when someone's playing for you right in front of your face and you have a guitar ready and you're ready to just go along with it. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the interesting tracks is "Fat Little Killer Boy," which kind of wraps up the dark side of things, and it kind of reminded me in spirit of Maxwell's Silver Hammer. You know, I don't know if that has ever come up in your conversations, but yeah, tell me about that song and how it got to be what it is.
Fat little killer boy, yeah, you should enjoy. Probably some people, mommy, steal. That's more like boy, that was making food out of you. Slice this piece in two. Ain't how to make them love, it's how to make them. Them two some taste of joy. Fat little killer boy. Don't tease him, just please him. Tell him he's a good boy. Or his hammer's coming down on you. Oh, fat little killer boy.
Yeah, that's actually funny you say that. I've seen that a couple of times down in comments where people have said it's like the Maxwell Silver Hammer of.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but the way that went down is Colton came up with a really cool banjo line, and I was like, this is an interesting song. And for some reason, I sat down at my kitchen table at the time, and that's the storyline that came out, just of a boy who got bullied, and then he just had his revenge on everyone. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not an autobiographical story.
not to my knowledge. So
that's very good. And it's followed by a very upbeat tune, "Heaven in a Wheelbarrow," which has some serious banjo playing, picking it in.
So tall.
Most of us, you know, we gotta fall.
Some looking like they'll shotgun down. I'm going to heaven in a wheelbarrow. I'm going to heaven in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's a great tune. Actually, that's one that we didn't write. There was a band in Regina back in the day, and there were some buddies of ours. They were called Buffalo Narrows, and that was one song in particular that we really liked of theirs. And they folded after a couple of years of being a band, and we were talking to the lead singer. And he said, I know you guys have always liked that song, so if you guys ever want to do anything with it, please feel free. I would love it if you guys did.
Right. So what can you tell me about the tour that generated the music from this? Are there any stories from any particular cities that stand out, gigs, venues?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that stands out for sure, and I will say this repeatedly, is playing at Red Rocks, just outside of Denver there. We got to play with Deer Tick and Trampled by Turtles. And Trampled by Turtles is a band that I was listening to before we started the band. So it was kind of really nice to play with some people that got some inspiration going.
Right.
And just being at Red Rocks is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's beautiful there. And it's a 10,000 person, live amphitheater, just huge rocks. It's incredible. So that's one that stands out. But all the rest, there's usually a story or something that's happened everywhere. But
well, it sounds like the gig in Dublin was a highlight. It was a sold out show, and you use your version of "Honey You" as to kind of close out the show.
Yeah,
the album.
Playing in Dublin and like Ireland or Scotland or anywhere in the UK is such a blast.
Right.
They know how to bring a good time.
Sounds like they take their drinking very seriously there too, don't they?
Yeah, we seem to go hand in hand, so it's good.
Now I know that you guys have had a little bit of controversy in the last couple of months, past year, and you've lost a band member because of it, and then you had to go through some kind of process of like a counseling thing having to do with sexual misconduct and all that, and that kind of thing is happening here in New Zealand as well. It's just kind of raising its face, and people are speaking up. And so have you gone through some kind of training thing as a band? Is that what your label has arranged?
Yeah, a while back we went through seminar, I guess you could call it, just a virtual one.
Right.
And they just kind of take you through a bunch of different scenarios. And we were on the call with a bunch of different people from the label and other artists and everything. It was kind of just like a widespread thing for everyone to come and join and, see what's happening out there and
Right.
ways to deal with situations. And yeah, so it was, definitely something that we all did.
Yeah. And can you be any more specific about what you kind of went through, or what you were told, or what you learned?
Oh, what you're told is, and what we learned, it was a lot of information, because you sit down for, I can't even remember how long the seminar was, but it was a couple hours for sure.
Right.
And it's basically just saying, like, we're moving to a place where, you have to really ask to do anything.
Right.
Like, there was even one scenario where they said, if, your friend's sitting down at a table, and you should ask to sit down in that chair before you sit down. And if you're going to eat their fry, you should ask to eat their fry before you do it.
Right.
And just, it's like, you have to ask all the time, and it's got to be like, positive reinforcement all the time, no matter what the situation. And questions have to be asked all the time. And you can't just assume anything. And basically, you got to make sure that everyone is comfortable. 100%.
Right. And I guess, I mean, I'm an older guy myself, older than you certainly, and there's a history of one way of thinking and behaving, and then now things seem to be changing. So do you think is it a difficult thing for you guys as a band to be thinking in those terms?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're pretty respectful people.
Right.
I'm going to say that most people are. A lot of times it's a situation that can get you into something that you don't even think about. And sometimes it doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It's just, you just have to be careful all the time, and, just make sure you got a good head on your shoulders and you're making the right moves.
Right. So Danny is no longer in the band. Is there plans to work with that situation when you guys are back on the road and back in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a discussion we're having all the time. What do we do going forward, and how do we do it? And, I mean, ideally, we'd like to have everyone back in the band. That's just kind of how we started. We started out with nothing, and, we've had a really good run with everything, and we've had a lot of success. And I personally don't want to do it with anyone but my friends. So.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Fair enough. So what have you been doing during this time when you're kind of locked up? Putting out the record is one thing, but I'm sure there's time for other stuff.
Yeah. Well, we keep running into tour scenarios that have stuff getting pushed back further and further.
Right.
So our management team and booking agents, they're all working together all the time, trying to work with promoters to just continuously recycle and push a year back and, save the date and get the venue booked again. So there's lots of talk of that. Obviously, releasing this album, there's lots to do. And we've been working on some old traditional tunes and just recording that for our own benefit and pleasure kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, just trying to stay sane in this world we're in right now.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you guys don't really base yourselves around doing traditional music, because a lot of bluegrass is that. So it's all originals on the record. So when you do go back to traditional stuff, what do you go back to? Is there a particular time and a place that you kind of look to?
Yeah, well, I mean, for this one in particular, we work with Pure Music Publishing Company.
Right.
And they have a catalog of songs and stuff. So a lot of them are Carter family. You got some Earl and Scruggs and stuff like that. So right now we're just kind of working our way through the catalog, just kind of choosing some songs, pulling them out, doing trying our own versions with them.
Right.
Trying to stay a little truer to traditional, but also having our own little touch on it, because that's just what we do.
Right.
And it's been a lot of fun, because we stem from a little bit of bluegrass. We stem from punk. We stem from metal, classical, all of it. That's just kind of where we come together. That's why we can't be called a bluegrass band. Right. However, our influences come heavily from bluegrass as well. So.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from those banjos, I mean, you hear that, and it's just like boom.
You're good. Yeah, your shoulder move, your feet start bouncing around. Yeah.
And you also recorded at one point at Muscle Shoals, which is definitely not known for its bluegrass. It's soul and R&B and kind of country soul.
Rock, yeah.
Being there, how did that affect the band?
Oh, it felt amazing. There was something in the air there where I don't know if it's because we went there for that specific thing to do, like record an album.
Right.
However, we were just in the zone all the time. We finished an album like a week and a half before we were supposed to even finish it.
That's not
We
supposed
were-
to happen.
Yeah, no, we were just in there all the time, just making our way through. It was great. And actually, one thing about that is we worked with our producer was Jimmy Nutt. We worked at the Nut House, and
Of course.
we went down like a few months before that to just meet him and like check stuff out, see if it's a good fit.
Right.
And I remember sitting on the couch and I went like this, and then I hit my arm on something. And I looked back, and it was a Grammy for the Steel Drivers. So they had won a Grammy with Jimmy Nutt there for a bluegrass album. So it actually
Wow,
was
that's
really
kind of
cool. Yeah.
Good way to run into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So the record is coming out like tomorrow or the next day, right?
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to do to celebrate?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get on a virtual call because
Right. Good
one of our
times,
guys
huh?
lives, yeah, exactly. One of our guys lives in out west, so he's a good 16-hour drive. So
It's a short drive for Canada.
It is. It is.
Oops, I think. Yeah.
Oh, there, yeah. Yeah,
There we
normally
go.
we'd make that drive if it wasn't shut down everywhere. So
Yeah. And what is the vibe in Canada in general like? I know you guys are, just across the border from the US, and lots of strange and wonderful things are happening there. So does it kind of feed into what you guys are thinking about?
not terribly. I mean, we're obviously very in the know of what's happening down there because it's all over social media, it's all over the news. So we're up to date on everything, and it's just a lot of conversation starters for sure.
Right.
We're not seeing much of a movement from it up here. So
And is the COVID thing pretty mellow in Canada, or is it something that people are concerned about?
it's definitely a concern. I mean, like things are shut down in different places. In Saskatchewan, we're at minimal capacity in restaurants and bars and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Venues are closing because they can't have music or anything. To the province in Alberta, province to the west, they are completely shut down. You can't have any restaurants or anything open right now. And it changes province to province depending on the cases and everything. And when it first came, we saw it a lot in the east, like around Toronto, Montreal. That's where it was kind of the hub, and everywhere else. And Alberta got hit pretty bad, but the rest was kind of mellow. But as it keeps going on, we're seeing spikes all the time.
Right. Yeah. It's a strange time. Well, anyway, you should come down to New Zealand if you get a chance. We're kind of free and clear for the most part. And I had a bluegrass band up here in my studio on Sunday playing. So it's a thing. We had 5 guys up here playing, strumming, and we're going to put it up on the website today, as a matter of fact. So.
Well, that's amazing. Actually, someone had sent me a link of a festival happening there, and I couldn't believe it. I just got so much envy. I just wanted to be there so bad.
Well, I'm going to a folk festival on the weekend, so for 2 days.
Amazing.
Yay.
Well, I know we're planning right now on booking some shows in early 2022 in New Zealand and Australia. So
Good idea. Yeah, should be open by then. I mean, they're being very strict about the borders, which of course they need to be. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the record, and hopefully you'll get out there and start strumming and playing and singing soon, because I got to imagine it's very frustrating for you.
Yeah, it definitely can be. Yeah, it definitely can be. And we can't wait to get out there. That's for sure.
All right. Well, have a good day.
Thanks. You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.